My name is Kelly and welcome to my channel. This is my sister, Jenna.
Hi!
The lovely sister of mine.
The
only sister of mine.
That's true. Yes.
Yes.
I had many things go through my mind. But
so I am still in Florida visiting them. And I'm actually getting ready to leave tomorrow morning, and we realized that we still haven't talked about the other book that we were planning to tell you guys about. It is only one camera this time. Nothing fancy.
and I set up the lighting, which is probably why it doesn't look the same also.
True.
And
but
the tripod also, so.
Yeah. Christopher went to soccer practice, and so we decided to just go ahead and try this without him doing all of his fancy stuff. But that's okay. You guys need to get used to it being normal again.
It was
anyhow.
a one and only. The
really
cameras.
So yeah, I leave tomorrow morning. Oh, also, I had mentioned that my niece might do a video with me talking about a book. She hasn't been feeling well, so she will not be doing a video with me this time, but maybe next time. Yeah. So this time, this moment, right now, right here.
This.
Yeah, this.
I
I feel like I said this time a lot, and then my mouth was like, no, I don't want to say that anymore, and so it made a weird weird noise. Okay, we are going to be talking about My Hands Came Away Red. This is a book that Jenna recommended to me, and it's so good. It's really good. I'm gonna read the back for you guys. Oh, by the way, it's by Lisa McKay. In case anyone here doesn't know that, why wouldn't you? But anyway, I'll say it anyhow. Peasants.
How could you not know that?
By the way, the whole peasants thing kind of started with me when we were really little. So if you hear us say that in the future a lot, it's just...
She rode a horse without an instructor with her. I was like 2.
Yeah, and I was like 4, and we were on like those horses that go in a circle.
So really, you don't need an instructor.
And you don't need someone there
but I
holding
was
you.
2.
Yeah, and so they were like, well, we have to have someone standing next to her, and then I was on a horse by myself, and I very vividly remember looking back as a 4-year-old and looking at her and like thinking I'm a princess, and I was like, ugh, peasant. And then I made the mistake of telling her later on in life.
And then later on, I had a bigger bed than her. And the very first night, I looked over and I was like, peasant.
We have issues. Okay, so the synopsis for My Hands Came Away Red. Thinking largely of escaping a complicated love life and having fun on the beach, 18-year-old Corey signs up for a 10-week trip to help build a church on a remote island in Indonesia. 6 weeks into the trip, a conflict that has been simmering for years flames to deadly life on the nearby island of Ambon. Before they can leave, Corey and her teammates find themselves caught up in the destructive wave of violence washing over the Christian and Muslim villages in the area. Within days, the church they helped build is a smoldering pile of ashes. Its pastor and many of the villagers are dead, and the 6 teenagers are forced to flee into the hazardous refuge of the mountains with only the pastor's son to guide them. As the team hikes through the jungle, Corey's search for spiritual answers and emotional stability proves just as difficult as the physical journey home. Okay, so, Jenna.
Yeah.
Please speak about this. I don't know what accent that is, but it was something.
Just like meshing them together.
Yeah, that was wild. Okay.
Your question?
Well, since you read this first, go ahead and talk about your thoughts on it. Like where you were when you read this and...
I was on an air mattress.
Okay. I was thinking where you were in life. Not specifically. So,
well,
think more broad.
I was a missionary on an air mattress in Maryland at the moment when I was reading it. but I was a missionary. And so when I was at a bookstore and I found it and I was like, that's a weird title to have. And then I read the back of it and I was like, oh, they're talking about missions and stuff, and that sounds really interesting. And so I actually found it on Amazon and I got it there because it was way cheaper. But so I was reading it and I loved that it was talking about just the conflict that was actually going on at the time in Indonesia. And it, like, the places I went to, I never went to Indonesia, but the places I went to, they had their issues also. And I mean, nothing that happens in this book happened to me, thank God. But we still had our issues that we had to walk through and to deal with. And I loved that this story, it doesn't just say, like, as they're going through these hard times, or they're like God is, like, this is great, you know, God has a purpose in this. No, it shows, like, they were struggling.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just start at the beginning of, like, the conflict. It kind of goes back a little bit, and you see how these kids, or they're teens, but how they bonded together over their boot camp, where they're preparing to go. And then it shows them, like, as they're actually helping the village, and so you start to, like, fall in love with these people. And that's just in the, like, first couple of chapters, to be honest. The rest of it is how, when this conflict happens and they have to flee the village, it shows, like, how they're struggling. They're like, why did God let this happen? Why did these people die? And, like, and then people are getting sick and they're being chased, and, like, all these things are happening. And I love that it was very real. It wasn't just a fake, oh, something hard is happening, but God is going to get us through it. That's completely true.
Yeah.
But in the moment when you are struggling with something, especially for somebody so young, who hasn't, like, this is the first hard time of their faith, it shows, like, you really, like, that horrible, awful, ugly thing that's happening. God, even if you're mad at God, even if you're railing at God, God is still there with you. He's still helping you. Yeah. And at the end of it, like, a lot of them, they were still like, okay, like, you know, God is with us. God did help us. And then it still shows after they get home how they're still struggling.
Yeah.
But they didn't, it's not like, oh, they turned their back on God.
Yeah.
They're struggling in this with God. Yeah. Like how Jacob wrestled with God. That's what I picture, is they're wrestling with God as they're walking through it. If that makes sense. If it doesn't, it's okay.
Well, and that was one of the things that I really appreciated.
You really liked your piece today.
Listen. So that's one of the things that I really appreciated about it as well, is the fact that it wasn't just a feel-good, like, oh, we're going to get through this. And no, it was very real. Like, when I was reading this, I felt like this was real. And it was talking about
story.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Like, and it just how I thought that it really was, like, this person writing about something that they went through, because it was so real about the struggles, emotional and physical and spiritual. But also, I loved how it kind of, you know, teenagers deal with things in ways that are a little unique sometimes for them to be able to mentally handle those things. And, you know, everybody does that. But it kind of, I like one of the ways that the teenagers are trying to, like, encourage themselves, uplift each other. And it's through a bit of a story.
Jip and Kiki.
Yeah, Jip and Kiki. So it's through a bit of storytelling that they try to encourage each other and lift each other up and just kind of deal with this stuff mentally. And that was actually something that we adopted in our own, like, actual lives, is for a long time. If one of us was just frustrated or whatever, then we would kind of take that storytelling and apply it to our own lives.
There once was a boy named Chip, and he had a best friend, a monkey named Kiki. And
yeah, and, like, we would stop it at a sentence, and then, like, the other, or mid-sentence, and the other person, we would do those back and forth. And we actually, my husband, when he was deployed, we would we would keep, because most of this was happening during text messages because or emails.
Letters.
Yeah,
You were
because we were
text.
we were like further apart from each other, and so we would do that, and then Jenna would take those, and she would take that entire conversation and like put it into a letter and send it to my husband who was deployed, and my husband would read it to the soldiers around him, and it was something that we took from here, but it ended up being something that was uplifting and encouraging to the guys around him while they were deployed, which was really cool to be able to take it and like...
They were funny stories.
Yeah, they were...
like, Jeff and Kiki were on a boat, and the boat was in Jell-O.
Yeah, like stupid
The propeller was made of a pickle.
I was gonna say bananas.
Like, it's just crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, and then like, or if one of us was really frustrated, we'd be like, I would text her and be like, once there was a boy named Jip, and he was really irritated that, the people in his town were driving so slow, or like, something like...
So Kiki came in with a helicopter.
Yeah, it was just...
He swooped him up and just flew him the rest of the way.
So it's like, honestly, it was a lot of fun to be able to take something kind of really fun, but also cathartic from a book that is mostly traumatic. And she really did such an amazing job writing this book. I definitely recommend.
More books from her.
Yeah,
I have yet to find.
Which, by the way, I think it's really cool. It says that she's a forensic psychologist and the director of training and education services at the Headington Institute. Like, that's cool.
Right?
And so then she was just like, here, let me write this really awesome book.
Wait, also, like, the Jip and Kiki story, that doesn't stop there. So when I had my daughter, there's, like, those rattle thing. It was, like, those soft rattles that had the head of a monkey on it. And, it sounds weird, but...
Yeah.
So, like, the part they hold on to, it's soft and squishy. And then the rattle is a monkey's head. Does that sound less weird?
Sure.
Okay. It's not as weird as it sounds.
I'll try to insert a picture of it.
Yeah. But anyway, so so Kelly calls my daughter Jip, and she just did you start calling her that after we got her the rattle? So
I got her the rattle.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's Kiki, and then I was like, I need to call her Jip.
And then so my daughter calls it Kiki, and then my son just happened to get like a bag from a thrift store, like a brown bag, and you don't know what's inside of it. So we got one of those when I was pregnant with him, and we were opening up, and it had the same exact rattle in there, and we're like, he has a Kiki also!
It's just, this book, even, like, it's so weird how just little parts of this book has just kind of seeded its way into our lives.
I've had this one for probably like 13 years.
Yeah, and I read it right after you.
Yeah, because I had it before I got married.
Yeah.
I said married, weird. Marred.
Marred?
Had it
What?
before I was marred. Okay, an accent.
You're full of accents today. Letter P's, sound P's. P sounds.
That sounds worse. I have a lot of P sounds today.
My mouth is making a lot of sounds with
It's been a long week.
Puh. The puh. I don't know what we're saying.
The letter P sounds.
Yes.
Sound? The
Sound.
letter P sound.
I've
The
been
sound
making...
of the letter P.
Listen, we're getting really hyper-focused on this.
We gotta get it right.
Yes. We should just move on. Anyhow.
Move on from that.
I don't know.
Okay.
You should read the book.
Yes. It's a really good book. Like
It is. And like, I know that there's a lot of us that we really like the very like fantastical sort of fiction to read, But
especially because everything like comes together at the end.
yeah, but I think
not
that
the case.
this is not a fantastical read, but as a Christian, especially if you're a Christian who supports even missionaries through prayer or whatever, like, or if you know it, like, it's a really great read because
even if you don't support missionaries or missions, this can help you open your eyes to what missionaries go through.
yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
it
may not be this dramatic.
But still, like I've been to many countries. Again, this has never happened to me, but I know people that I've worked with that similar things have happened to them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to share it because I'm not supposed to.
Yeah.
But similar things. So, and I've been in situations that were not safe.
Yeah.
Again, I was never chased through mountains. I've been chased on streets. But it's something that it helps you to understand what missionaries go through.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that so you'll go out and support missionaries. I mean, I'm not discouraging you. I'm just saying it's something that can help you understand.
Yes, and if nothing else, like through that understanding, it will encourage you to hopefully pray for the missionaries that your church supports or that you know personally, or maybe encourage you to find some missionaries that that are just out there in the world, find their names and pray for them. Or you don't even have to know their names, just pray for missionaries. They need it.
Just the Christians in other countries.
Yes, that
this
too.
Isn't just about those missionaries. The majority of it is talking about those missionaries, but two of the people that they're traveling with, they stayed in Indonesia, and they were from the village that was attacked.
Yeah.
So they didn't leave once they were rescued. Those two stayed, and it was very much their life. And then the people who were attacked, that was their life. Like, they lost their lives, and that wasn't something that was, just set apart. That is their country. That is their culture.
Yeah.
So it's important to just understand that we might be relatively safe here.
Yeah.
But people in other countries, it's not that way.
Yeah.
So it helps you open your eyes and to understand what other Christians are going through.
Yeah. And I know that this has been a bit of a spoilery talk, but I guarantee you, if you decide to still read this, there's going to be a lot there that we haven't touched on, honestly. And I know that, like I said, it's a bit spoilery, but it's still worth the read. You're still going to get those emotions.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's most of us, well, I'm not saying most of us, but most fiction books, at least in the Christian world, it ends with a happy note.
Yeah.
Or like whatever was supposed to work out works out. It's not that way in this. There's still struggle at the end of the book, but they are struggling in a good way. They're struggling to understand in a healthy way. They got out of the country. The two people, it's not like death and gloom the whole book, and it ends on where you want to chuck the book and you're like, this is awful. It's not like that.
Yeah, no.
It's still encouraging. It
ends with hope.
Yes.
It ends with hope. I think that's a great way of saying it. And there are moments in here where you honestly might laugh out loud.
Oh, I did the whole time.
Yeah, me too.
Not the whole time.
Yeah.
But throughout the whole book, there's bits and pieces.
It's not only doom and gloom. Yeah. It ends on a happy note.
And there are laughing portions, really funny.
Yeah. So please check it out. Or, at least, consider it, because I really think that it could be a great read for a lot of the people here in the Christian community. So anyhow, I think that's it. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thus ends our report.
Thus ends it.
Thus ends it. We're going to finish this with a British accent.
It's not going to be great.
There is no accent.
No, because I was scared because I knew it wouldn't be great.
Try it.
No, I can't. I have British friends that watch this, and I don't want to be chastised.
Well, that's fair. Well, try an accent that you can do. Try a pirate accent.
Arg me, matey. It be done.
They're like, Buccaneers and Barry Gold. What's the treasure? I can't do it because I'm laughing. I can usually perfect that. That was too much though. I couldn't do it. You were making me laugh.
We should. Okay, bye guys.
Bye. Buccaneers and Barry Gold. What's
Well, everybody.
Whip stab the treasure home. Yes.